Welcome to another episode of the Urban Wall Street Project. I'm your host, Earl Christian III, of course. And today we have another amazing in-studio series with a talented young brother. Talking about my man, Phil John. He's an actor, writer, poet. But you're about to check out one of his pieces right now before we even get into it. Enjoy this. It's serious.
I am a mutt. My hair, not kinky enough to be African. My lips, not thin enough to be European. And I carry not enough history from the ancestors to be considered native. You see, I am all of what I am not, making me a product of America's lost history linked inside of their barbaric little plot. Yes, I'm a part of those who have survived the brutality of slavery, and I'm also a part of those who oversaw its operation. In San Miguel de Guadalupe, Africans seek freedom, and natives are expected to know their place. You see, I am what this nation has kept secret. A people without history or past, with everything to be proud of, yet we hang our heads in disgrace, not knowing our place. We are masters, bastard children, kept quiet but taken care of, because if word got back to Miss Patty that Master John been dipping his dick in Kizzy Sally, then surely there will be hell for her to pay. Procreated in captivity, crossbred with those from another continent. Dear God, so on bended knees we went. Our Father, there art in heaven, do we repent for allowing this travesty to take place, for sharing our land with European tyrants, for enslaving ourselves while believing in the propaganda and deceit that sailed across the Atlantic onto our shores where they placed their feet. No wonder why great-great-grandmother Austin had to burn the dream catcher from her baby's crib. For if she had entered womanhood knowing that she had the right to take back a land that was rightfully hers, if she had known of the master's blood that was mixed with hers, then surely one day she would have stood up and demanded reparation from the man responsible for her creation. But silence was a virtue. And besides, Master John wasn't about to have his half-breed talk back, even though his great-great-grandmother was full-blooded and lived along the banks of the PD River in a cul-de-sac. But quiet as it's kept, lies cannot continue to be told as long as the truth cannot be spoken. Straighter hair, thinner lips, skin the color of burnt sandalwood, and high cheekbones, but no one could ever provide answers as to why her skin was so different than her other cousins. And God forbid if word ever got out that she was a direct descendant of the Seminole Indian mixed with the European ancestors who owned them. This is my story. This is my song, standing on what I know so that I will not long for who I am or where I come from. I am a mutt, mixed with the blood of the Native American, product of African slavery and European greed. I am light-skinned, high yellow, red bone, and mixed. And no, I do not have direct contact with the perpetrators who bred my generation's past, nor could I explain what other people see when they look at me. A forgotten past, a stolen legacy, confiscated by the Americans today, after 8 o'clock in New York City. I'm just another black man who can't even catch a taxi, where I'm not black enough for the blacks and the whites won't accept me, where the Latinos kind of look like me but the natives all disown me. I am a mutt, birthed by a nation in consistent conflict, like a Rubik's Cube diversified with color and culture, seen but not heard, an ambiguous sculpture, placed upon a mantle for all society to figure out. But they never do, because admitting that I exist would be like America admitting that she is guilty. And if that were to be, then finally the world will be able to see, and our preservation will no longer be limited to the reservation, but will provide confirmation of my being.
Man, oh man, that was powerful. Did y'all feel that? Mutt. How many people feel like that? Why is it that situation? We're going to talk to the man behind that poem. We're going to get into it. Without further ado, my brother, Phil John.
What's up, bro?
Phil, what's going on, sir?
Thank you.
I'm definitely feeling that piece, man. I'm definitely feeling that piece.
Yeah.
So, I want to get into, I've seen you do your thing before, and that's why I was impressed, and I wanted to have you and showcase your talent, what you do, because it's all about, showcasing that talent, that comes out of our communities. But that mutt, let's talk about it. I know you got another one we're going to see, but let's talk about that mutt. What inspired you? That's a powerful piece, bro.
Well, just being an actor in the industry, in the business, and a lot of people don't know is that when you are auditioning in front of casting directors, a lot of times you are judged by what you look like. You know what I mean? And not necessarily your talent, because there's a truckload of people that got talent, but it's all about what you look like. And a lot of times, they like to place African Americans in a box. They like to place Latinos in a box. They look a certain way, and we all know we come in all shapes, sizes, and colors.
No question.
But I just got frustrated, and I was sitting at home one day, and I was like, man, I am a mutt. And not only that, but you would be surprised how many African Americans don't really know about their Native American ancestry.
No question.
Which is probably closer than the African ancestry.
Without question.
So that's pretty much what the inspiration was behind that.
Right. So, you know, spoken word is always a powerful tool. You know, I'm a poet and a writer, but the spoken word is a whole nother dynamic to poetry. You know, some people could write prose or write a poem, you know, 8, 9, 10 lines and memorize it. But you memorize it almost like monologues. How long has this always been a passion in you? How long have you been, you know, practicing that craft, that talent?
Well, I've been, actually with the spoken word, it's interesting because spoken word I got involved in, 2003? And I went into a spoken word venue in Maryland, and they were actually having auditions for a CD for Johns Hopkins. And I needed to pay my gas and electric.
Right.
So I wrote something, because, you know, from acting, I always was, I'm used to memorizing monologues, but, you know, so I was like, I can do this. And I did it, went in, and one of the guys that was running the event that night pulled me aside and was like, you know, we doing this project for Johns Hopkins on health disparities in the African American community. We want you to come on board, and that's how it started. It just kept going from that point.
Amazing, amazing. Now, I know spoken word, so many people get in spoken word. You used to see it on Def Poetry Jam with Russell Simmons, and it was, you know, it was a great outlet for individuals to definitely get their talent. But then there's a lot of people, I'm sure, that do spoken word. Tell me some of the obstacles, because, you know, it's all about urban Wall Street. Some people, you know, you can get wealthy doing different things, they're rich. Some people follow their craft, and if your craft takes you there into that stage, you know, you can get it. But I want people to be clear, because a lot of people think everything you have to do has to be for money. You gotta, you know, it can't be about passion. And I see, I appreciate the passion from the art. You know what I'm saying? So from your perspective, what is it that keeps you passionate about your craft?
Impact.
Impact.
Impact that I have on people, you know. I want people to get it, you know. I mean, in the general public, man, it's just crazy. We so caught up in, you know, Britney Spears and, you know, paparazzi and all the tabloid craziness that a lot of times, you know, I think the public is conditioned to actually think that way.
Right.
You know, so a lot of times that is kind of noise. So when something of substance comes, some people don't get it. That's unfortunate. But for me, and doing what I do, whether it's writing or spoken word or whether it's acting, is that I want it to be impactful, and I want it to be have substance and be of quality, because that's important.
Definitely, definitely. Now, when I met you, was down in Midtown, where it was the location you were doing the performance, right?
Exactly.
And it was really powerful, because you were actually, there were other skits that were going on, but there was nothing that, in my opinion, measured up to yours. Was on the same level. Like, he's a brother from another planet, but let's put him in there to make us all sound a little better. It was really hot. But I want to know what's some of the, you know, it's about putting in a bubble, but if you had to talk to some young people, right now, who do spoken word, or you see their talent, and they feel this is what they want to do, but you know, society, you know, conditions us to be all about money, making money, and they'll say, well, I love doing that, and I want to do spoken word, but can I make money? What would you tell that person who really has a passion for being a spoken word artist, but they think it's about the money? You know, should they do it for the money? Should they do it for their art? You know, what can it lead for them? What can it lead to for them?
Start out doing for the art. Start out, do something you love.
Right.
Because there's a million people in the world that are working, making money, truckloads of money, and hate getting up, going to work every day.
True this.
So you have, whatever it is that you choose to do, try to make sure that it's something that you completely and totally love doing.
Okay.
And when you love what you do, people will see that, and you'll end up getting paid for what you do.
Exactly. You know? And we talk about that. You know, we say that in Urban Wall Street. Don't do it for the money. Sometimes do it for the love, because if you do it for the love, that means you're going to do it because it's coming from your spirit, and the quality is going to be stellar. And if the quality is stellar, quality sells. Quality sells, and that's a beautiful thing. So now you're an actor. We know you're a poet and a writer, but talk about the acting. Are you have anything coming up? We have seen you in some things in the past?
A lot of stuff that I've done have been mostly on the independent circuit. I started out in the DC circuit. Started out doing an independent film called Pain and Smiles, which led into another film called Exodus 2013. You can go to exodus2013.com to check that out, the trailer at least. From that led into a film that I just finished in DC with a couple of guys from The Wire. Poop from The Wire, if you ever seen The Wire. Him and I just shot a film called Conversations with the director Frank Jackson, who's coming out of DC, who's just phenomenal.
Wow.
You know what I mean? So,
Right.
I mean, and don't sleep on the independent film circuit, man,
Oh,
because a lot of
definitely.
people, if you ever hear like the Latino Film Festival coming through, or the Hollywood Black Film Festival, all of those festivals, man, have films that people don't get a chance to see unless you know about the festivals or go to the festivals.
Right.
You know, not everything is in, the general cinemas that you see.
Definitely.
And some quality work is being produced, man. It's just, take advantage and go see it.
That's great. So right now, I know you're doing things in the city, so you just finished up this movie. Are you going to be doing spoken word, any venues here in the city coming up soon?
I've been trying, if people have asked me to do that, but right now I think my focus is really on the acting part of it.
Okay.
I will continue to do spoken word, I do it because that's something that I can honestly say, I do it because I love doing it.
Right.
And I enjoy doing it,
Now let me ask you, what's one of the biggest challenges? Because I mean, I'm sure there are spoken word artists who are sought after, and then there's spoken word artists who are up and coming. So what's some of the obstacles that a person might encounter? I'm gonna do this for the passion, because you can arrive at your destination no matter what your talent, your craft is. You can arrive there. But what's some obstacles individuals need to be aware of and prepared for as they get into the spoken word arena?
With spoken word, you have to understand that people don't know how to market it.
Okay.
That's the biggest thing, We know it's out there, we've heard about it, but we don't really know how to market. It would be easier for you to call yourself an MC and get marketed as a poet, because it's on a totally different level.
Okay.
That would probably be the number one obstacle, is marketing.
All right.
Because not too many people, I mean, if you go into like the mainstream circuit, like where you saw me perform down in Midtown,
Correct.
you have people who appreciate the art, but yet and still, when it comes down to dollars and cents, which this industry pretty much is, marketing is something that they don't know how to package.
Okay.
With spoken word.
Greatest moment. What's one of your greatest moments, one of your greatest spoken word moments?
My greatest spoken word moment is performing in Washington, D.C. at the Mayor's Gala for the National Urban League, and meeting all the mayors of D.C. and Mark Morial, who was the former mayor of New Orleans. So, and that was the biggest crowd I've ever performed in front of, which was like 1,500.
Wow.
So that would probably be the most memorable.
Amazing, amazing. That's a beautiful
So,
thing.
yeah, man.
Now I know
I've been blessed.
You
I
definitely,
can't
it's a
complain.
beautiful situation. Now I know you just dropped Mutt. That's so serious, and I know we're going to be blessed to catch another one.
Yeah.
And the name of it, I believe, is
So You Think.
So You Think. And before we see it, people are going to hear it and I want to feel it. But give us a little background into
Okay.
that particular So You Think, right?
I'm quite sure everybody, can relate to this one. It's because how you have family gatherings and you have aunts and uncles that haven't seen you since you were a kid.
Right.
And, you have issues from the past with dealing with adults in your life. And sometimes when they see you as an adult, they come at you like you were like 10 or 11,
Right.
12 years old. And So You Think You Know Me was like kind of like me telling them, hey, look, this is what I was going through, but I didn't allow whatever negative situations that I was going through to prevent me from positivity.
Okay.
Prevent me from getting to where I wanted to get in life,
Definitely.
And sometimes you just can't, and I wish young brothers would really, really understand this, is that you cannot allow whatever negative circumstance in your life to deter you from really getting where you have to get, or what
question.
you want.
No question.
It's important that you get angry enough to say, you know what, I'm gonna rise above this. I don't care what anybody's saying. I don't care what anybody think, because people not everybody's gonna like Phil John.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Not everybody's gonna like Earl Christian.
Right.
But you can't let that stop
Right.
you.
You got to like you.
Yeah, I gotta do what I gotta do to get what I gotta get.
Now, before we get into this piece, one of the biggest things that is important in our communities and that we know as families and children is support. Being, coming from, urban households, our parents want us to go to college and get a good job because they want that stability. That's what they was raised on, and we understand that, and that's viable.
Oh, definitely.
But sometimes when you're an artist, school might not be where you want to be.
Yeah.
So not talking about whether you went to school or not, it's irrelevant, but what was your support system, and like when your mom and dad, I want to do spoken word, this is what I feel my passion is. How was your support system?
My support system came mostly from my aunt, God rest her soul, who actually passed away, she was the one who introduced me to this whole art from the beginning. You know what I mean? My support system necessarily didn't come from family, but it came from other people who had the passion and drive as I do. Until this day, that continues to be my support system.
Excellent, amazing, amazing.
Because not everybody get this, you know. You know, and it's not easy. Because if it was easy, everybody would be doing it.
No question, no question.
Yeah.
Before we go into it, last thing, one of the most challenging things. What's one of the most challenging things for you? I've said, what's the most challenging thing about getting into the game? What's been one of the most challenging things for you in this arena?
Man, how to stay afloat, how to keep your morale up when sometimes things look dim.
No question.
You know, or, you know, when things don't seem to be going the way you plan, you know, how do you keep yourself motivated? That's been a challenge. And sometimes there will be nobody to motivate you.
True this.
So you have to know how to motivate yourself, man.
Definitely.
And, you know, as long as you keep God in sight, you can accomplish pretty much anything.
True that.
So
I feel you.
yeah.
Understand that's all about you. Definitely keep God in sight and have faith in yourself. But I want you to check this out. So you think, Phil John.
So you think you know me. You're just meddling and pondering, trying to figure out the very inner makings of this complex male creature. You see, the dynamics of how I've been built is far more than what the surface may display. Yet you sit back and you make false judgments and assumptions, but what the hell gives you the gumption to entertain the confusion that is your delusion that will inevitably distort things concerning me you really don't know a damn thing about? But to no avail, you continue to talk and assume about other people and their children, anxiously awaiting the day of their doom. But still, you see, you must be careful of the words that utter out of your mouth. Did not the story of Moses and Ramesses teach you nothing? Now it's been said that I'm a spoiled, arrogant son of a bitch just because I've been blessed with more than what some people can only wish for. But I'm not on no ego trip, so please do not take my words the wrong way. To whom much is given, much is required, and can be snatched away at any day. But if I allow you to kill those things that keep my heart beating, then surely I've let you win. Then what kind of man would I be? Nah. You see, that would be the ultimate sin. See, you think you know me, but honestly, you have no idea. A fatherless child growing up in a world where a young man who is of the race that is black is an endangered species and a target for our government where for years we've been under attack. A vicious cycle set up for us to fail, never to be overcome, overrun, or led to prevail. They've traded in their ropes and shackles for mental imprisonment and a lifetime spent in jail. Now you say you can't deal because I have this air about me. Some call me uppity, even a yuppie, and they say how I act like I don't want to be black. Just because I know how to articulate my words and conjugate verbs, formulating complete and structured sentences, don't necessarily mean I gotta be whack and tacky. You see, it's all about being black. My ancestors had to sneak and read, but in this day and age, I read to succeed, because in this life, we are a dying breed of people who are infested with an all too common disease of jealousy and animosity, so much to the point that we are never willing to give a young brother who we see trying to do the right thing his props, rather racking our brains at how he's making it all happen and hoping that everything that he touches flops. But if you really knew me, like you claim you do, you remember how I used to sit up in my room and weep and pray for the day when a strong black male role model will one day come my way, ready to embrace me and walk me toward the path of being a man, more than my single mom or my grandmother could ever understand. How I saw nothing but black men strung out on crack, falling into the trap set up, never to regain their manhood or life back. An introvert I became, looking inward toward my faith and higher power, dealing with things in my head that I won't be able to get into at this hour. But you see, I've been in a box trying to figure my way out. And without a doubt, I've seized the opportunity to step out and take a chance, determined never to be complacent, but rise above my circumstance.
Well, you might not have known a little bit before the man, but now you know. So if somebody says you think you know, I caught my man Phil John, and I do know a little bit. But we're going to talk a little bit further about his next talent, which of course is a writer, because we know he's a poet, and we know he's the actor. He's talked about it. But let's talk about his passion for writing, when that began. Writing, because I love writing. I'm a writer. How long have you been writing? Any books in the makings? Any books in the past?
No books. I've been writing forever, you know, since I was a kid. But I haven't had the guts to really share it until I became an adult.
Okay.
You know, I've always been a dreamer, and it takes nothing for me to kind of develop a story. And sometimes I like to take real life situations and actually put it on paper. So I actually finished my first screenplay called He Ain't Heavy. I mean, it's still in the editing phases, and but it's completed.
Right.
Again, I had a couple of scenes I've written, read at the Bar Group down in Midtown, which is an acting school.
Okay.
So I'm continuing writing. You know, writing is relaxing to me. You know, and sometimes when you let yourself go and allow, you know, the universe to just drop things into your mind, you can create some beautiful stuff.
Without question.
You know, so but it wasn't until, like I said, until I became an adult that I actually started to share a lot of the stuff that I've written. Okay. You know.
Now, what was it? Because I mean, with that passion, when I hear you speak, I would think that you've been dropping that passion, teenager, like you've been doing it. So what was it as a child that it hindered you from sharing that talent? Because you knew you had it. I'm sure you were in your room writing these passages, and this is hot. But when it comes to the public, what was it that kept you from, or what were you afraid of, I should say?
People's judgment.
Okay.
What people thought, you know? Like I said, the general public, man, can be cruel.
How'd you get beyond that?
Not caring what people thought, and just said, you know, this is what it is. And if somebody can be, I'll give you an example. I was down in DC for the Black Film Reunion, and there was something I wrote about, it's called The Race, and it was about always trying to, you know, you're trying to go for your goals, and you're trying to reach your goals, and in the process of you working so hard, you seeing your friends, and it seems like everybody's passing you and getting to where they want to go, and you like the little engine that could.
Right.
And I did it, and I didn't even think, you know, as an artist, I'm thinking about, oh man, I messed up, I hope people got it. And there was a brother that came up to me and said, man, he said, that really touched me. You know, can I have your email address? You know, I was going through that same thing in my life. I understand. That right there made me say, you know what, I don't care what the critics say. I don't care what people think. You know what I mean? If somebody hears So You Think and say, you know what, I'm going to do what I want to do anyway. You know, if I want to be an artist, I'm going to draw. You know what I'm saying? If I want to sew, I'm a sew.
Right.
You know, screw what anybody else think, because
Without
sometimes
question.
we hold ourselves back by other people's opinions of us, and it really don't matter.
And that's so key, and I've said it before. I said never allow someone else's opinion of you to become your opinion of yourself. I say that to my young kids that I mentor, whoever the case may be, and that's so key, and that's so poignant. So I'm glad it was a point in time you got to realize, like, you know what? I can do what I want. And forget what everybody else says. I enjoy it, and if I can touch one person, that one person might touch a million other people. So it's a beautiful thing, and I really like that. One thing I definitely wanted to ask, you know, the question was in my head, and I was thinking about it, and I said, you know, this brother writes, and he does some acting. You ever thought about doing any directing? Because you got the passion. It seems like you definitely could paint a picture. You know what I'm saying? You definitely can show us a picture. So have you ever thought about getting into some directing?
Man, I don't think I got the patience to direct.
No?
Yet. You know, I've thought about it. You know, I've strongly thought about it. But, you know, I want to be able to direct and have it be effective. Right. And not, you know, because I'm telling you, my patience is like that with people. So, you know, you really have to have a lot of patience and, you know, bring the best out of people, man. But that's something that's coming down the line. I mean, I haven't ruled it out.
No question, no question.
But, you know, it's coming.
Now, you know, you said something just, you know, a moment back about, you know, the criticisms. And what criticism, when we hear spoken word, you know, people are dropping science and it's passion and it's art. What criticisms do you get as a spoken artist, spoken word?
You know, you get compared to people.
Okay.
Who's hotter than who? You know, when you become popular, you know, similar to what celebrities go through, you have people talk about everything from what you have on, or, you know, maybe her hair is too short, or, you know, maybe she's too big, or maybe his nose is too big, you know, just little frivolous
things like
craziness.
Other people's opinions.
Other people's opinions, you know, and a lot of times, and we've all been guilty of it. You know what I mean? But when you're on the receiving end of it, it's like, man, you know,
Right, right.
Did I used to talk about this celebrity like that? You know,
Right.
like, yeah, I did.
Right.
You know, but when it's coming back at you, you know, it's not as cool.
No question.
So, but that's pretty much it, man. But when
right.
you think about it, it comes with the territory.
No question.
But that one compared to maybe 3 who actually have, you know, whose lives have been changed by anything that I've done, doesn't matter to me.
Beautiful, beautiful. My man Phil John, my people at home, this is an artist, is an amazing brother, poet, writer, actor. You hear him doing this thing. His contact information, you can see him here in New York doing this thing, so reach out.
Yeah.
Definitely check this episode. You know, before we get up out of here, I'm gonna let him give him an opportunity to give some shout outs real quick, but you know it's your boy, Earl, aka Big Business. Check us out, UrbanWallStreet.tv. Definitely go check out the YoungProducers.tv because our kids are doing some things. I'm gonna let my man Phil John take us out. Let him know what it is, Phil.
Definitely, you can check me out on myspace.com/PhilJohn74. You can hit me up at philjohnacts@gmail.com. Definitely actors out there, check me out at the network, nyc.com, where you can come down, you can meet with casting directors and agents if you're looking for one, you know, and just be a part of the community, man, because, and I want to thank you again, Earl, for bringing me down and having me on here, man. It's been a blast. I've had a ball.
Definitely.
It's been a pleasure, and hopefully later on down the line, you know, we could do it again.
No question.
So,
you already know what it is.
Thank
Urban
you.
Wall Street Project. Keep watching, tune in. As I always say, be mindful, be prosperous, keep your head up. Peace.